What's up, guys? Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the evcX Throttle controller by Ultimate9. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get it installed. It is super easy to do, literally takes 2 minutes, if that. And then I'm also going to cover why I chose to go with this over other brands on the market that I'm sure you've heard of. This has a couple features on it that the other ones don't have, which is very attractive. And also the price on this isn't bad at all. So let's get it out of the box. I'll show you real quick and then we'll go over the app, the features. It is Bluetooth capable, so we'll go over all that. And then again, I'll touch on why exactly I chose this one versus the other ones on the market. So here's the box it comes in, kind of like an iPhone case. You take that off. The first thing I noticed when I originally opened this box, I haven't done anything with it, but I did take a look inside. The first thing I noticed is how small this thing is. If you compare it to my Apple Watch, I mean, you could see it's literally not much bigger than my Apple Watch, which I love that because obviously the more compact, less space it's going to take up in the truck. So you can see how thin it is. Has 2 buttons on the front and then a port on each side, which is also an advantage over the other ones on the market because you can basically mount this anywhere in your truck, and instead of having to worry about the wiring coming out one side versus the other, you can plug it in on either side. So very nice, very cool feature on there. And then it comes with the sticky pad for mounting on the back already. And then the only other things you get in the case, you get an extra set of sticky pads in case you need it. Of course, your wiring harness that we have to install on the throttle. You do get a carrying case in here because, as you're going to see, you don't need to keep this plugged in. And there's also, again, another feature where if you want to take this out of the truck, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's another feature where you may want to take this out and you can put it in this little carrying case to take it with you. You get a couple zip ties and your instruction manuals with the little Ultimate9 decal. All right, install on this thing could not be easier. It's basically idiot proof. Just a couple things you want to keep in mind before you start this process. Number one, because of the electronics in the newer vehicles and things like that, before you do this, you want to make sure the truck is off for at least 10 to 15 minutes. I've been letting it, this has been sitting for about an hour now, but 10 to 15 minutes minimum. And then your keys, especially if you have a push button start, you want to take your keys. I have both of my key fobs more than 30 feet away from the vehicle. That's going to make sure when you approach the truck, none of the accessory things turn on or anything like that. So just set your keys at least 30 feet away from the vehicle, and again, let it set for at least 10 to 15 minutes with the power off. I also disconnected the negative side of the battery. It does not say you have to do that. I'm just being a little extra careful with that. So once you have all that done, this is what it looks like. We're literally just going to take the wiring harness on the top of the gas pedal or the throttle, and we're going to put this in its place. So I'll show you, real quick. Very easy to do. The only other cord that's coming off this is your USB-C. You can see there, and that's what's going to plug into your module itself that's going to be mounted on the console. All right, let's go ahead and get that done. All right, so here we are, gas pedal, wiring harness right on the top. On our Tundras, the 3rd gen, the tab that you have to push in is going to be on the inside. So you're going to bring your finger over, push that tab in, pop off the wiring harness, just like that. Now take the male end of the throttle controller, plug it into the end of the harness, make sure it clicks in place. Then take the other end of the throttle controller and put it back up on top where we unplugged the factory one. Once you have those 2 clips in place, you can see, hopefully, I basically have the module sitting up on top of this panel. It's a perfect spot to kind of rest it. And then you literally just feed the other end, the USB connection that we're going to plug into the module we're going to mount. You can run it right down through there. I don't know, you might even be able to see the module down in there. I'm not sure if it's going to turn out because of the lighting, but it's a clear path straight down underneath your steering wheel to that location. So I just used a little, I actually used a long zip tie, fed it down there, tied it or taped it to this end and pulled it straight through. Okay, so we've reconnected the battery, went into the house and grabbed one of our keys, plugged our USB into that side of our device because you'll see where I'm going to mount it. It's going to be perfect. Let's go ahead and start the truck. We'll download and connect to the app and we'll go from there. Truck is started, no codes or anything. The screen on the evcX is just saying factory, so we have to go ahead and pair it to the app. I'll do a screen recording on my phone so you can see exactly what I'm doing, but we're just going to go ahead and open the app. and then you're going to need the last 4 digits of the barcode. Now, that's on the module that we connected to our throttle. So before you do that, I should have mentioned this. Take a picture of the barcode on your module, because you're going to need the last 4. Or if you wanted to, you actually could scan the barcode. I'm just going to do mine manually. I know the last 4 of my barcode, so I'm just going to go ahead and enter that. Once you have that entered, we're just going to go ahead and click connect. And if you come to this screen, hopefully, well, I'll put it, it'll be on your screen there on my phone. But if you come to that screen, you are successfully connected. If you get a timeout message, that means something went wrong with the Bluetooth connection, because that's how this thing connects, is through Bluetooth connectivity. All right, so now that we're in here, I'm gonna go ahead, before I do anything else in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and drive this for a few days, and then we'll wrap the video up by talking about the functions and those other features that I mentioned in the beginning that kind of set this thing apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive this for a few days, and we'll pick up from there. All right, guys, it's been several days of using this evcX by Ultimate9, and I gotta tell you, this thing is awesome. It's definitely my favorite throttle response controller I've ever owned. Let me pull you in a little bit closer. We'll cover the settings real quick, and then I'll kind of share my opinion on why it sets itself apart from everything else on the market. First things first, I'll put a picture on the screen of where I mounted it. It's right down here on the left of my steering wheel. In my opinion, perfect spot for it, easy access if I need to get it. But yet, when I'm driving, it's pretty well hidden, so the lights aren't in my face and all that good stuff. So let's get into these settings. The very top square, Ultimate9, that's the most aggressive throttle response you're going to get with this module. Your gas pedal is super sensitive. You hit it and the truck just wants to go. Very easy to chirp your tires, honestly. Very aggressive, so that's what you're going to get with the Ultimate9 setting. Down below that is your ultimate setting. This is where you can go ahead and adjust your slider. So you can go, Ultimate 1 all the way up to Ultimate 9 in increments of 1. Just kind of lets you fine tune it, set it up however you want it, just to get that custom feel. You can choose the aggressiveness that you want. Now, if you want to go to Ultimate 9, and this works for no matter what setting you're in, if you want to go to Ultimate Level 9, you can just hit the Ultimate 9, and that's where it'll take you. It's the same thing as if you were in the Ultimate mode and took the slider all the way to the top. It's the same thing. Now below that is the launch mode. This thing is pretty cool. This is a unique setting. You can't move the slider up or down. Once you're in launch mode, you're in launch mode. What that is, it allows you to aggressively take off from a dead stop without spinning your tires. So I don't know exactly how they do it. I'm guessing, I don't want to say that it allows you to ease into it, because you do take off aggressively and quickly, but you won't spin your tires like you will if you're in just Ultimate 9 and floor it. Launch mode, they properly named it for that reason. You can aggressively take off without actually chirping your tires or spinning your tires. It's pretty unique. No other controller I've ever owned actually had something like that. Now below that is hands down my favorite feature and favorite setting. It's the adapt setting. That is awesome. Basically, they call it adapt because that's exactly what it does. It adapts to how you are pushing the gas pedal. What I mean by that is, it's almost like the best of both worlds. If you just, very gently or slowly hit the gas, it acts like you're in eco mode, economy mode, which we're going to talk about briefly, but it'll just let you ease onto it. But yet, if you step on the gas a little more or aggressively, it'll act like you're in one of the ultimate modes, or even up to Ultimate 9. So it's very, very adaptive to how you're pushing the gas pedal. It's the best of both worlds. I don't think there's any other throttle controller on the market that has something like that. If there is, put it down in the comments just so I know. I don't believe there is. Any throttle controller that I've ever owned didn't have anything like that. This is where I keep my truck, honestly, 99.9% of the time. After I did all my initial testing and everything for the video and to, give you guys feedback, this is where I basically keep my truck. You can't move the slider up or down. So again, just like launch, when you're in adapt mode, you're in adapt mode. Again, it adapts to how you're pushing the pedal, so there's no need to adjust the the slider bar. It is an awesome setting. If you guys pick one of these up, put it down, comment down below, let me know what you think of that. It's very unique and absolutely my favorite setting on this module. Now below that is the eco mode or economy mode. This, you can move the slider up or down levels 1 through 9, and
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't like the eco mode. It's supposed to save on gas. Now, it does help a little bit. I'm not gonna go into detail on that in this video. I've done videos on the past. There's also other videos out there. It does help slightly. It's not gonna make a world of difference on gas savings. It will improve it slightly. But again, it's not gonna like completely change your gas mileage in any stretch. I didn't buy this truck for gas savings, so I don't really like, you know, I don't drive in eco mode. I did test it out for the video. It does exactly what it claims. It softens your throttle response. You know, you can hit your gas a little harder before it actually kicks in, that sort of thing. Again, it's not my thing. Some people out there may like it. Where I can see eco mode coming into play is, and it's very similar to the next setting we're going to talk about, which we'll actually just click on it now, the anti-slip mode. This you can adjust the slider, again, just like in eco. These two modes where I can see them coming in handy for me personally anyway is if I have the boat hooked up, if I'm trying to pull it out of the water, or if I'm trying to back it down the driveway into the garage. I can see those two modes coming into play for that sort of thing, where you want a soft throttle. You don't want the truck to jerk or, you know, pick up aggressively. That's where I would use these two modes. I would probably use the anti-slip mode, because what that does, where they differ is the anti-slip mode, from my testing that I've done with this, it eases into it, but then it will pick up once you're going. But it kind of eases into the throttle and then starts to pick up gradually. Whereas the eco, it just lessens your throttle response. So that's kind of where they differ. The anti-slip will come in handy for those you know, those situations that I just mentioned. Factory is exactly that, just takes your truck back to factory setting. You're not going to feel any difference whatsoever. Underneath that is valet mode. If you click in valet mode, it's going to lessen the throttle response by 50%. So that way, if you do drop the truck off or your vehicle off at a valet, they can't go ripping around in it or anything like that. So takes it down to 50% throttle response. That brings us to the last two squares, the lock and unlock. And this function literally makes this module almost like a 2-for-1 sort of deal. It's not only a throttle response controller, it's almost like a little bit of a security system. Let me show you what that does. If you hit the lock button, you're gonna get a thing that says, warning, you have pushed the pedal lock button. Do you really wanna continue with this action? Click accept. I have mine set up to where you need to know my 4-digit PIN to lock or unlock the module. I'm gonna go ahead and enter my PIN. I'm gonna blur it out. So I've entered my PIN, and you can see the lock button is now red and enabled. What that does is, hopefully you can hear it, I'm hitting my gas pedal, I'm flooring it, and nothing is happening. You can't drive my truck. So I could literally give somebody my key, but if I lock this, and then you could also take the, you could even unhook and take the module that I have mounted on the dash over here. I'm gonna mount mine with Velcro actually, so I can take it out in and out if I want. But even if it's in here, if that thing is locked, you could have my key and you can't take my truck anywhere. Now, when I hit unlock, you're gonna have to enter that 4-digit PIN again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then you'll get a reminder saying vehicle's pedal is enabled. You'll click OK, and now it'll jump back into whatever mode you were in when you locked it. We were in valet mode, so that's why it jumped back to valet. That is a very cool feature. If you wanted to lock this thing, now to set up the PIN is very simple. All you do is click on the 3 little things up there, 3 little lines, go into settings, and then you can see lock password. I have it enabled. If you hit that slider button, it'll turn it off, and then you can lock or unlock the module without putting in that 4-digit code. I turned it on, obviously. So, but that's, oh, actually, while we're in here, let me show you this real quick. You can change the interface style. We have it on the launch pad, which you've been looking at. If you go to wheel, that's what it'll look like. Okay, so you just have the wheel, and then you'll be able to, you know, move the slider back and forth. The interface color, you can go to blue, orange, or red. So anything that you see red here or on the home, actually, I'm gonna go back into change the interface style. I like the launch pad look better. So when you change the interface color, I'll just give you a quick look at blue. If you go to your home screen, now it'll show up in blue instead of red. I like it in red because it just kind of matches the TRD Pro theme. There's also an orange background, and you can change it from light or dark. I'm gonna leave mine in red. Last thing I'll show you is you don't need to use the app. The 2 buttons on the front here, if you hit that, that'll cycle through your settings as far as Ultimate, Ultimate9, Launch, Adapt, all that good stuff. And then when you're in, let's say you're in Ultimate mode, which you can see there, the button over here will change the slider. Settings 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9. All right, so you don't have to use the app if you don't want to, but you can use those 2 buttons on there if you choose. Last thing I want to mention before we wrap this up is you don't even need to have this plugged in. Once you're paired with the Bluetooth and everything, you can actually unplug this and you don't even need to keep it in your truck. As you're going to see, you can change your settings just through the app. Okay, so that's another very cool feature. If you don't want somebody to know that you even have this, you could actually just hide this part. Obviously the part that's plugged into the gas pedal has to be there, but this, you can just unplug it, put it in that carrying the little storage pouch that comes with it, keep it in your safe or whatever you want to do with it. Doesn't even need to be in the truck if you want to control it with the app. That's pretty sweet. We are back in Adapt, my favorite setting. I'm gonna finish my running around. Let's give you my final thoughts on this thing. Is it worth it? In my opinion, 100%. It is probably the best one. Well, actually, it's definitely the best one I've ever used. It's probably, in most people's opinion, the best one on the market because of those additional features that it has, which the competitors don't. The Adapt setting, as I mentioned, my favorite. I love the way it literally adjusts on the fly to how you're pushing the gas pedal. And then that lock and unlock feature, that is really cool to be able to just give you that peace of mind. If you want it, it's there. And then the fact that you can unplug it like I just showed you and take it with you, you don't even need to plug it back in. As far as I know, there's no competitor out there that gives you those functions. If there is, comment down below, let me know. I've never seen anything like it. So this thing is absolutely worth the price. I will put a link in the description down below if you want to pick one up. If you do grab one, give me your thoughts on this, especially on the Adapt feature. I want to see, you know, if people like that as much as I do, and the fact that it literally just kind of adjusts on the fly. It's really neat. I'm going to stop rambling. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, any questions on this thing, put them down below and let me know what you think if you grab one. Thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.